Welcome to the 2020 Prism Awards presented by the Cartoon Art Museum
and Prism Comics
and Queer Comics Expo.
We're so thankful that you guys came out today. We're also thankful to everybody that submitted for the Prism Awards this year. We're also incredibly thankful to the staff of judges that helped us out this year. But more to talk a little bit about what the Prism Awards are about is Ted Abenheim. So I'll hand it over to you, Ted.
Thank you. My name is Ted Abenheim. I'm the president of Prism Comics. I go by he and him. The Prism Awards was founded by Prism Comics, the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco, and the Queer Comics Expo to promote excellence in queer comics. Comics by queer writers, comics that present positive, innovative, challenging, diverse representations of LGBTQ characters and LGBTQ stories. Normally we do this presentation at San Diego Comic-Con, Comic-Con International San Diego, but since we're all quarantining at home and hopefully staying safe and reading lots of comics, we're bringing this to you digitally. The mission of the awards is to promote diversity and excellence in both fiction and nonfiction comics, from webcomics to indies and small press all the way up to mainstream. The nominations and the awards are voted on by a diverse panel of judges from the industry, comics creators, journalists, writers, librarians, educators, people in the know about comics. And to tell us more about the judging process, we have our Prism Awards chair, Gladys Ochoa.
Hey everyone, I'm Gladys Ochoa. I go by she, her. I'm Latinx, an illustrator, and one of the Queer Comic Expo's coordinators. This is my first year being the chair. So being a chair this year has been an honor and a pleasure to be with a huge, diverse group of people. It has also been quite the adventure as a chair navigating through the hurdles of 2020, such as COVID-19. Leading that to online programming has been both a blessing and a curse. We had a late start and needed enough time for the judges to deliberate, leading us to not being able to present the award on time for Comic-Con. And so with Comic-Con's blessing, we transitioned to expand the award ceremony into a longer event, which is why we're here. Yes. The Black Lives Matter movement was a wake-up call for us to get more judges of color. We were dedicated and inspired by the movement to provide more spaces for brown and indigenous people of color. The Prism Awards provide a source of community for me personally and a way to support queer creators. I had a lot of fun seeing just the amount of submissions and supporting others in their passions for their work. My experience as a queer person has always been the good old, am I queer enough? Going so far as asking the girl I was dating if I was queer, only to be answered, we are dating. I think that's one of the definitions of it. So now I feel less confused because of the awards, but for that I'm forever grateful. So we would like to thank all of our judges for their time and work in making this happen.
Yes, we definitely want to thank our judges this year. It was immensely difficult work. We also want to let you guys know we're trying let everybody know that we are trying our best to ensure that we're making correct pronunciations for names. We want to apologize in advance just in case we have missed the mark. And we want to let you know that your work is no less appreciated. And we are really trying our best to make sure that we do you honor by making the correct pronunciation for names for judges. And with no further ado, I would like to thank our webcomics category, which starts with Jillian Pascasio of Alphabet Anthropoda, Rob McGonigal, the site editor at Panel Patter, Sean Coia, the reviewer at Panel Patter, Becky Hawkins of Super Butch, Randy Fisher, The Pride of Life, Nick Porter from Mega Sheen Podcast.
And for short form judges, May Rude, who's a journalist, E. Jackson from Flux, Svay Monster, The Beyond Anthologies, Heidi McDonald, editor-in-chief of Comics Beat, Brina Nunez, I Exist, Lawrence Lindell from Truth with Truth.
And from the small to mid-size press category, we have Harry Connor from Fighting Home, Emma Hubois of transcription, Barry Deutsch of ampersand, Nola Whitney to measure, and Amanda Castillo from Mapmakers.
And from our mainstream publisher category, our judges are Brian Anderson of Stripling Warrior, Jack Bauer, a librarian from Berkeley Public Library, William O. Tyler of Cinephilia, Caden Phoenix of Jalisco, Greg A. Elisi of East Nana.
And for Anthology, Malak Lilly, The Boar King, Renetta Robertson, Hair Story, Nyla Magruder, Creaky Acres, Victor Kearney, Megashine Podcast, and Michelle Zhuang, Permanent Alien, an Asian American Comics Anthology.
Thank you to all those judges for their immense hard work and for corresponding with us through emails all throughout the summer. I know, Gladys, that was both a challenge and a joy. And just as COVID has created many changes, there's one more change to the awards this year. In the past, the awards have been hefty blocks of wood with plastic comic book pages topped by a solid glass rainbow. While these awards were impressive and a lot of fun, they have been called some of the least phallic awards out there, which we had a fun time being proud of. And the awards just became sort of too immense to be able to continue to send out to the winners. In order to ensure that winners have something as quickly as possible where they can parade it around and celebrate their victory, we switched to the design this year to become medallions. So these medallions are fabricated here in the Bay Area, and as with many spaces in California, we have been affected intensely by the fires and smoke traveling that so many of us are suffering from. With that, there's been a small delay in production, and we are going to make sure that these awards are completed before the end of the year. We want to make sure that the winners from tonight still get one more thing to look forward to before the end of 2020. And while we are also focusing on making sure that our winners get to celebrate sooner, we also want to make sure that we give honor to the finalists in these categories, even if they don't happen to win tonight. Their work is immense, their accomplishments are great, and we want to make sure that that is valued and acknowledged. So in addition to the acceptance speeches that you'll see tonight, you will also see words from each of the finalists in the categories talking about their experiences making these works that we can all continue to be inspired by. And with that, I don't want to hold this up any longer. I want to pass this over to Gladys Ochoa, our amazing chair, to introduce our first category.
Thank you so much. Yes, so we're going to go ahead and start with the webcomic category. And so this category is practically a comic that is primarily or initially published online, that is complete or ongoing. Yes. And so the webcomic finalists are The Girl That Can't Get a Girlfriend by Mieri Hiranishi, Cafe Swada by Jade Sarson, and Magical Boy by The Cow. The winner for Best Webcomic is Magical Boy by The Cow.
Hello everyone. First off, I want to say thank you to everyone who makes the Prism Comics Award possible. It's an honor to be among so many talented fellow LGBT creators. Words cannot express how grateful I am to everyone who has supported me throughout my journey of creating Magical Boy, especially my partner CK and editor Brooke, who have both, kept me on my feet and been so encouraging when I had my doubts. I also can't forget my amazing colorist Dojo and my assistant Sarah, who both helped me create the series. Burnout is a serious thing, and I owe it to you all for making this possible through a team effort. Your skills, assistance, and support have allowed me to continue putting the magic in Magical Boy. And lastly, I want to thank my publisher Tapas for believing in me and giving me my story a chance, and a platform to thrive on. Thank you. Overall, it's been a crazy experience creating Magical Boy. This is the first time since my childhood that I've attempted to make a serious story-driven comic, but The story of Magic Boy is the one that I've been wanting to tell for a long time. I wanted to create a story about a hero, a teen trans man hero who embarks on a messy, outrageous, funny, and difficult, but ultimately rewarding journey that all readers, but especially trans men, can cheer for and relate to. There were parts of the story that were really difficult for me to write, and I know may have been hard for some readers to see as well, but it was really important for me to make the story as genuine and authentic as I could, because I want readers to see Max overcome those obstacles that all too many trans people have to face every day and succeed in spite of them. Coming out takes a lot of courage, but having courage doesn't mean immunity to self-doubt and vulnerability. So I want to acknowledge the strength as well as the challenges that are all part of coming out, and but also a big part of coming of age in general. It's been amazing to see how much love Max and the story are receiving, and I can't put into words how much it means when somebody tells me that they see themselves in Max, or that Magic Boy has given them strength. More than anything else, I want the story to inspire everyone to be true and love themselves. Yeah, so thank you for having me, and thank you again to my fans, my friends, and family for all the support. Be safe and have an amazing day.
ハロー元気？平西みえりです。彼女ができない女っていうエッセイ漫画を連載してます。なんとこの度彼女ができない女がプリズムアワードでノミネートされました。すごい。プリズムアワーズはアメリカの NPO が開催している LGBTQ コミックスのための賞なんですけど、いやーこんな素敵な賞にノミネートしてくださってありがとうございます。ありがとう。彼女ができない女は自分がいかに彼女ができないっていうのを書いた面白悲しいエッセイ漫画でして、漫画を描き続けられるようにいつも応援してくださってる読者様ありがとうございます。ありがとう。他のノミネート作品も個性あふれる素敵なものばかりですので、ぜひ読んでください。どうもありがとうございました。
Hi, I'm Jade Sarson, the creator of Cafe Sawada. Can you believe I nearly didn't submit it because I didn't think it was queer enough? That's some internalized biphobia. So Cafe Sawada is about learning that there isn't one way to live your life. Everyone has different goals, and we should respect those differences. You see, when I started writing it 10 years ago, I couldn't fathom that some people don't have like this all-consuming specific thing that they want to do with their lives. Like some people just simply enjoy life for what it is, and that's important. So this comic is where I enjoy myself. It's my experimental baby. It's the place where I can say to myself, you want to try this? Go for it. It's a fun game of keeping the art consistent whilst playing around with like tools and techniques depending on my mood, my level of patience, and my desire for a challenge. And as I've grown, so has the comic. It started out as an homage to shoujo and sitcoms, which did their best to drill harmful cis-normative behaviours into me. And the early chapters regrettably reflect that. But as I became more aware of my gender identity, my sexuality, and healthy relationships, so too have my characters. And webcomics as a format is really special to me because there's no limits on this kind of representation. They've always had a much higher ratio of queer characters, especially in niche genres. More often than not, if you search for a fantasy or a mystery or what basically amounts to a coffee shop AU, you can guarantee there'll be healthy, happy queer characters. And unhealthy, unhappy, flawed ones, you know. The brilliant thing about having more queer characters is that you don't have to hold one up as this paragon of a role model. Like, they can all be explored as interesting individuals with, who'd have thunk it, different approaches to life. And that's one of the reasons I wanted my main character Geraldine to be bi or pan, depending on how you define it, like me. She's tea obsessed, she's overdramatic, she's pay, She's a waitress with a dream, and she's slowly coming to terms with having feelings for someone so unlike her after years of being just pretentious, which is what drove her ex-girlfriend away. She's complicated though, she's likeable and unlikable depending on who she's interacting with. She's not like a cliche device that you'd find in some stories, here to teach the other characters about sexual possibilities and then disappear into the queer ether. She's thirsty, like most people, but her story isn't about that. It's about learning respect. And she's grown, but she's not quite there yet. She's got a ways to go. And yeah, I'm truly grateful to be a Prism Awards finalist, because it's recognizing that my queer kids have grown into characters worthy of being noticed, even though they're not perfect. So thank you very much.
I'm Lawrence Lundell,
And I'm Brina Nunez.
and we make comics and are queer and stuff.
Yes, all of the above. Yeah, it's both our first time judging anything like this, but it's a huge privilege to do it for queer comics, especially with being in quarantine and not being able to be in comic conventions. But it's been a really wonderful Expo experience, and to still feel connected by reading all this beautiful work by everybody.
Yep. And we're judging the short form comics, or we're judges for it, and we're announcing the finalists and winners. The short form comic is a self-published or traditionally published comic of 32 pages or less. Entries to this category are a complete story, not an excerpt from a longer work.
And the short form finalists are In Search of Absent Pigments by Alex Awesome and Lynn Darrow, Pseudo Sled Transmission by Emma Jane, and One Day Out by Ina Bestari.
And the winner for Best Short Comic is... No, correction. The winner for Best Short Form Comic is... No, correction. We should do it together. 1, 2, 3.
The winner for Best Short Form Comic is... Drum One Day Out by Ina Bestari. Yes! Congratulations! And congratulations to all of the amazing finalists that submitted their work to this year's Expo.
And the folks that submitted too that weren't finalists. Y'all had some great comics. We really did read them all, if you're curious. Like we're up reading them. But yes, you should go celebrate, continue being queer, and continue making comics.
Hi, I'm Ina Bestari, the creator of the short comic One Day Out. I'm speechless and beyond grateful for this Prism Awards nomination, and honestly, I was not expecting it at all. I first wrote the comic because I felt isolated, especially after the 2016 anti-LGBT crackdown in my country, and I wanted to let other people like me know that they're not alone. It turns out that the comic resonated with many queers from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Muslim queers from all around the world. I remember only being able to work on the comic when my family members were all asleep, because we lived together and I couldn't risk getting caught. So yeah, it was pretty challenging, but knowing that other people like me find some solace in my work is what keeps me going. I would like to thank New Narrative for giving my comic a home, and Caris Loke for always being a thoughtful editor. Again, as a closeted queer person in a homophobic country, there's not many people I can celebrate this nomination with. So I would like to thank you all so much for being here with me.
Hello everyone, Emma Jane here. I was extremely not expecting this from this book. It was probably the scariest thing to release that I've ever released, which makes a lot of sense because it's a book about, I don't know, the terror of making yourself known to people you barely know. It came from an interesting time in my life. A lot of self-discovery and a lot of mistakes were made, but I am who I am because of it. I want to thank Diskette Press, as always, for printing this book and distributing it and hauling my butt to a bunch of comic shows through the past couple of years. It's meant the world to me, and they're just such a great publisher. And I never thought I would be saying this, but thank you to all the shitty dating apps that I downloaded over the years. I actually don't know if I can cuss in this thing. If I'm not allowed to cuss. Sorry I said the word shitty. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Noella Whitney, one of the judges for Small to Midsize Press. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator with a focus on lesbian relationships as a way to figure out what it means for me to be a lesbian in this world, mixed with my favorite flavors of mountain scenery, giant buff women, and werewolves. My comic, To Measure, was the 2018 short form category winner of these awards and included all those things, and so will the future second installment, To Cut. This year has been absolutely crazy, full stop. With the pandemic, the US election, and the modern civil rights movement of Black Lives Matter, plus handling the effects of those and countless other personal things in each of our lives, which for me included moving countries from Japan to the US, I looked for work that was uncompromising in this year's entries. Simply stating you exist is an extremely radical act, and one we are all familiar with, some in intersectional ways. For real beneficial change to occur, however, demanding respect is just the first step in the right direction. We need to push much further than that. The best comics this year did this in each their own way, whether it be through adventure, drama, childhood, or others. So I present to you your finalists for the best comic from a small to mid-sized press. A comic from the small to mid-sized press is a publishing house that does not identify as mainstream. The small to mid-sized press finalists are Lemonade Summer by Gabby Mendez, Trans Girls Hit the Town by Emma Jane, and Stage Dreams by Melanie Gilman. And the winner for Best Comic from a Small to Mid-Sized Press is Trans Girls Hit the Town by Emma Jane. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Hello everyone, Emma Jane here. Thank you so much for giving Trans Girls Hit the Town a Prism Award. This book has honestly changed my life, and I really was not expecting it to. This book only exists because I thought of a really stupid joke, and I wanted to create a vessel with which to deliver the stupid joke. It turned into something a little bigger than that, though. It was also around the time where I was frustrated with the lack of trans characters in comics, specifically trans people interacting with each other. And that's kind of why the book turned out the way it did. And after I released it, just a bunch of people told me how it gave them just strength and comfort in trying times. And that's probably the highest compliment that you can give an artist and a storyteller. So thank you so much, everybody. And also thank you, Diskette Press, who published the book and made it a real physical thing that you can read with your eyes. And just being a kick-ass publisher in general. Definitely work with them if you can. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks again. Bye.
Hello, this is Melanie Gilman. I just wanted to say thank you. Incredibly honored by this. And Thank you especially to the folks at Learner and my editor, Greg, who were advocates for this book and took a chance on me telling a weird disaster lesbian romance story set in Civil War era New Mexico. Really, for me, this book goes out to all of the queer and trans ancestors whose stories have been buried over time, or whose stories we only have fragments of, and all of the people who came before us whose names we no longer know because their records were deliberately lost over time. This book was a way to take fragments of those stories, which is sometimes the only stories that we have left, and try to weave them into a narrative whole as a way to imagine the lives of our queer and trans ancestors as being full and full of love, and not just being strictly narratives of hardship. And I hope that we as queer folks, we find ways in the year 2020 here to live loudly and to leave our own marks and make it as hard as possible for the history books of the future to try to forget our stories and forget our names. Thank you again, deeply honored by this, and I'm so happy to have this recognition for my weird lesbian Western book. Thank you so much.
Oh hi, I didn't see you there. I was just trying to escape the summer heat wave, and I thought to myself, I could really use some lemonade. What's this? Lemonade summer? How refreshing! How delightfully queer! How... Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, on a somewhat serious note, thank you so much for this. I don't know how to explain how momentous it is and how big of a deal it is and what it means to me. As a queer artist, I just always make queer stories. I can't stop, both mundane and fantastical, because I want to populate worlds with people who were like me and my friends. Stories about people having crushes, stories about friends supporting each other. Diverse not because I'm making some special effort to do so, but because that's the way that the world is. And it just became increasingly important for me to make these stories specifically for queer kids. I feel like it's said a lot nowadays, but representation is everything. It is so important to me. For kids who were like me, who needed to see themselves in their media, to just know that they were normal. And for kids who aren't queer, to see that things that are different from themselves don't make them not normal, it just adds more flavor. The things that we have the same are just bigger than what makes us different. And I just want to thank you so much for seeing this vision like I did, and just for recognizing it. Thank you so much. And I could have never gotten it done without my friends at Cowhouse Press, who also saw what I was trying to do and helped me make it a reality. So to everyone who was involved, and to everyone who got me here, and just everyone, thank you so much.
Hello, I'm William O. Tyler, queer comic creator. You may know me from such comics as Theater of Terror, Revenge of the Queers, which I co-edited last year with Justin Hall. But today I'm here as a judge, here to announce the winner of the mainstream comics category for the Prism Awards. I'm very excited and honored, as always, to help judge Prism. And I know our history as queer creators and in the queer comics genre is a little bit more independent and underground. So it's kind of exciting, pretty exciting to be able to announce a mainstream winner for this category. So without further ado, here are the finalists for the Mainstream Comics Prism Award. And again, this is a comic from a mainstream publisher, published by a large publishing company. I'm going to be reading, so apologies if I mispronounce anything. But the mainstream finalists are Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Gonusho, Kiss Number 8 by Colleen A.F. Venable and Ellen T. Crenshaw, and Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valero O'Connell. And the winner for Best Comic from a Mainstream Publisher is, drumroll, little drumroll, Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valero O'Connell. So congratulations, Rosemary and Mariko. wonderful book. And also congratulations to our other nominees. All of your work was great. We were very happy to read through all of your work just to see what is out there in the mainstream. So I hope everyone is being safe, staying healthy, taking care of themselves during this time of what we're going through. And yeah, I just keep making queer comics. Couldn't ask for anything more than that. So.
Thank you from the absolute bottom of my heart and from the bottom of Mariko's heart as well. Thank you to everyone involved in the decision-making process and to everyone that has been there both individually and as a team to support Mariko and I throughout the arduous but deeply satisfying creation of this book. Every bit of recognition and support that it has gotten means more than I have the words to express. But to have it recognized by the queer comics communities specifically, especially among so many other breathtaking titles, is really the culmination of an honor. That this book is not only something that exists in the world, but that I got to help bring it into it, still feels utterly surreal to me. Mariko has been a hero of mine since the moment that her work first entered my world, and to be able to become a part of the universe of graphic novels by her side with this project has been a dream come true, to say the absolute least. Laura Dean represents the synthesis of so many of the things that draw me to storytelling and that keep my spark for comics ignited. It's a story saturated in unabashed and unquestioned queerness. It's a story about tenderness and growth, and it's a story where queer love, both platonic and romantic, is shown as the life-saving force that it is. When we both poured our hearts and souls into its creation, and to see it resonate with the people it's for, with young queer readers looking for something that feels true and loving to them, is all that I can ask for. So thank you again so much for seeing something special in this book. It changed my life, and to know that it's had some impact on yours as well makes me happier than I can say. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Savannah Ganishow, the co-author and illustrator of Bloom. Kevin and I are so immensely grateful for this nomination. Our number one goal creating Bloom was to create a reading experience that was joyful and calming, and in the last year we've been so happy to hear loving reviews from our readers. Hector and Ari mean so much to us, and we love to hear how their love story has impacted all of you. On behalf of Kevin and I'd just like to say thank you so much to everyone at First Second, Charlie, our partners, our friends. We couldn't have made our big teal loving queer book without all of you, and I'm so proud of us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Colleen Venable.
And I'm Ellen T. Crenshaw.
And we created Kiss Number 8.
Ah! Thank you so much for this honor. We're completely blown away.
When I started writing Kiss Number 8 in 2004, it was the book that I really wanted when I was a teen. And I was searching for that book and realizing that there was such a lack of representation at the time. At that time, there were no books for teens with trans characters, and there were also no books for teens with bi or pan characters. And they were all like, oh, person comes out, oh, everything's great now. And it's not the way it happens. You come out of the closet and you just kind of keep coming out. You keep discovering things about yourself and you keep growing. And I worked on the book for a lot of years, and I also kept seeing that religion was always treated as the bad guy in books with any LGBTQIA+ content, and there is room for spirituality and to be queer. And I wanted there to be a book that explored kind of all these gray areas, and where all the characters in the books, whether the main character or the bad guys, all make mistakes and all sometimes do things that are actually pretty great. Except for one guy, he's a jerk. But other than him, everybody else, gray. And the story luckily came to life so much with Ellen's beautiful gray washes.
Thank you, Colleen. Well, when I first read Colleen's script, I wasn't even established in the comics industry yet, and I was mostly just making comics for myself. And when I read Colleen's script, it made me cry and it made me laugh, and it really touched my heart. I felt such a huge connection to the characters. I just had to draw it. So, I mean, my favorite bits of the book are the complicated friendships, how, you know, you can have a friend who is both cruel and supportive, how the book subverts gender roles and subverts expectations around sexuality, that you can discover who you are and rediscover yourself over and over and over again. And what teen doesn't feel that they don't quite fit in their skin and they need to burst out and discover who they truly are?
I thought of this, you know, we set the book in 2004, and I thought of it like as a period piece, and it was like, oh, people are going to read this and be emotionally invested, but it's not going to be like, this is not the way it is now. And then I started getting emails. And unfortunately for a lot of teens, it is the way it still is. You know, emails from teens that were growing up in Mormon families that were having trouble coming out, from Catholic families, teens that were just like, I think I may be bi, but I'm not sure. And it was just so great to realize that it was connecting with people and kind of showing more people all these options that are out there. It's just so amazing to work on this, and I feel like Ellen too, like it's just, the collaboration was like, it is completely created by the both of us, and I'm so grateful.
And we just wanted to quickly say thank you to our fellow nominees, Rosemary and Mariko, and Savannah and Kevin. Your books are incredible.
And we should also probably thank our publisher for Second Books. And thank you so much, Prism Comics and Cartoon Art Museum and Queer Comics Expo. Again, we're just really, really honored to be on this list.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Victor Kearney. I am the author of Strangelore and a board member of Prism Comics. And for the last category of Prism Awards is the comic anthology. Now, what is an anthology? Well, it's a collection of shorter works written by one or two other authors. It's either self-published or gone through a publisher. So an anthology finalists are Come Together, edited by Tab Kempkin and Alex Hassan. Heartwood by Jomette Gill. Shout Out, edited by Andrew Willer. And the winner is Heartwood by Jomette Gill. So congratulations to you.
Hey everyone. This video means that Heartwood just won Outstanding Anthology at the Prism Queer Comics Awards this year. And gosh, it's such an honor, not just for me, absolutely not for me at all. It's for 29 of us, or 28. Forget if the 28 includes me. But yeah, over 24 non-binary creators from all over the world came together to create this book in 2018. It was our fastest selling title at Power and Magic Press to date. It's been life-changing. When I first made the call for submissions for it, I'd never really collaborated with anyone on something regarding gender identity, and just getting to read and edit everyone's fantastic takes on combining gender with the sort of liminal space that the forest affords us when we venture into it to discover the unknown, to learn lessons, to find ourselves and find others unlike and like us. It's an irreplaceable experience, and I wish we could all be in a physical space together to celebrate. But, until then, just thank you. Thank you so much for reviewing our book, for finding value in it, for validating the stories that we've told. And shout out to everyone else that's been nominated this year, whether they've won or not, because every single one of the stories that are honored at these awards deserve to be read, deserve to be lauded. And I encourage everyone to check out each and every single one if they haven't already, and to read Heartwood, of course. So again, thank you. Thank you so much.
Tab Kimpton here, co-editor of Come Together. Thank you so much for even considering our book alongside with these other amazing anthologies. Come Together came from our desire to showcase what Europe could offer the world of erotic comics. Projects like these are particularly important at a time where larger social media sites are clamping down on adult content, something that directly hurts already marginalised creators. Racism is not just an American problem, xenophobia is alive and well in all of our countries. Minorities often find their porn politicised anyway, so our anthology focuses in on the delight that comes from embracing people different to you. Connection, consent, and a whole lot of people coming together.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Hassan. I'm the co-editor of the Come Together anthology, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for this nomination on behalf of everyone that was involved. We really had an amazing time working on this anthology and getting to read so many wonderful, diverse, interesting, moving, sometimes funny, sexy stories. And specifically, we wanted to give a shout out to Nikki Smith, who really helped us put this anthology together. And honestly, we don't know if it would even exist without you. So when we were working on it, I guess my favorite part was the Discord server that we all had together. We all shared process, pictures, and just kind of like experiences from working on our comics. And it just felt really great getting to know so many interesting people from different countries. I think specifically after Brexit, it felt more important than ever. So really, thank you guys. Thank you to all the contributors who worked on the anthology. This one is completely yours.
Hello, I'm Andrew Wheeler. I am the editor of Shoutout. I would like to say thank you to Prism and the panel of judges for their recognition of our anthology on behalf of myself, my assistant editors Joe McGill and BC Holmes, and our publisher Stephen Andrews. We're really proud of the work that we did on this book. The book was the work of more than 40 lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming, two-spirit, and ace and aromantic creators who wanted to tell the stories they wished that they had had growing up, stories where they could see people like themselves as the heroes. That was really what we set out to do with this book, and something that we're really proud to have achieved. So thank you again for that recognition. Putting together Shout Out for me was about proving that there is an incredible range of talent out there that's not being tapped into by the industry. We decided that we would open our doors to creators of all experience levels to put this book together, and so there are creators in Shout Out for whom this is their first ever published work, but the depth and quality of the talent, I think, is consistent and incredible all the way through. The highlight of putting this book together for me has been going out to shows, something we sadly can't do at the moment, but when we could, seeing the young audiences, queer people of all ages, but especially kids, coming to the table and seeing a book where they could recognize themselves, and seeing the enthusiasm and the passion and the confidence, honestly, of some of these young people. That's what we want to inspire. That's what we want to do more of. We set out to make a book where everyone was represented and where the people telling the stories had the same range of identities as the heroes in the stories. We are so grateful for the recognition that this award gives to this book, and we hope that it helps us to find even more readers to appreciate and share Shout Out. Thank you again.
So thank you on behalf of Prism Comics and all of us. Thank you for watching the Prism Awards. We want to thank all of the creators who submitted to the awards, not just the people who are finalists and winners, but everybody who submitted. Your works were amazing. It was a tough process. We thank you. You're all out there representing and making change, and we thank you. We thank the judges and for all of their work, and to all of you for watching.
Thank you, Ted. Yeah, as well as he said, on behalf of the judges and everyone who put these awards, we want to thank you for joining us this year and for your patience.
And I want to thank Gladys and Nina. They were great.
Yeah, wherever we may be. Yeah, thank you everyone again. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you to everyone who took a chance at submitting their work. Thank you to everybody that made this process possible. Ted, for your constant support through Prism, Gladys for your support as the co-chair or as the chair this year. And then also thank you on behalf of the Cartoon Art Museum and QCE. We are so excited to be doing this again next year for 2021. So if you've been making comics in quarantine, you've got a few months left from this year to get back to any projects you may have in mind that will be eligible to submit. Submissions will start around January or February for 2021. And as always, we immensely look forward to seeing what everybody's creating and how everyone is pushing the medium of queer comics forward into the world. Thank you again, everyone. Stay safe, have a great night, and hopefully a better rest of the year.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I was going to do the exact same thing.